Yo, what is up, guys? Bringing another one of these back again. Um, the last two actually, and I mean this time. The last two actually did pretty well. So I figured, you know what, we'll do another one. Let me know what kind of tier list you want me to do next. Preferably Pokemon related, but if you have any other suggestions, just let me know. Today we're going to be doing, as you can see, all the mainline series Pokemon games. Um, I, I'm doing this one because I haven't played a lot of the spin-offs. Pokemon Colosseum, XD Gale of Darkness. I never had a GameCube growing up, so I didn't get a chance to play those ones. Um, but yeah, we're gonna go through all the mainline ones, which I've played all of these. And this goes all the way from Red and Blue up to Scarlet and Violet, which we've been playing over on Twitch. If you haven't already, definitely follow my Twitch channel. Be linked down below. Um, but who knows? Maybe I might start streaming on here soon as well. So yeah, check it out if you want. But in the meantime, I guess we'll just start off with the first one. We've got S through to F. We're going to go with Pokemon Red and Blue. Now, I started on Pokemon Blue version. I've probably said this before. Pokemon Blue, bought it on holiday when I was in Spain. It was the Spanish version. Didn't have a fucking clue what was going on in the story. I just spammed A the whole way through that game. Still have it in this, literally the cupboard right here. Still have it somewhere in there. And yeah, weirdly enough, it's still got the save file too. So the battery hasn't actually died yet. Although last time I checked was about a year ago, roughly. So maybe it has died by now. But at the time, it still had my save file from when I was a kid. So yeah, for nostalgia reasons, I think you know what, I'm gonna put it's not the greatest game. I'm gonna put it at a B though. Um, like if you compare it to like all the games we've got now, it would definitely be like the worst for sure. But I'll put it at well, you know what? I'll put it at a C. Um, so we're not like being too harsh, but it's also like I don't know. It's a rough one. Nostalgia's going to push it up a lot higher for people, but you've also got to take into consideration, you know, how the games actually have aged. One that has aged a little bit better, just because, like, I don't know what they did differently, but it just somehow looks a bit like the Pokemon sprites all look a bit better, and as a whole, I think it's fair to say, with it being the third version, Pokemon Yellow is a little bit better for many reasons. You get all the starters in it. You start off with your Pikachu. First gym is a bit of a pain. I've actually been playing through Pokemon Yellow again recently. I traded my Pikachu over to because I've also been playing through Crystal. I traded it over to Crystal, but I kept hold of a Gengar that I got in Viridian Forest. Um, those who know, but yeah. Eventually, when I get to certain areas, I will also be getting Mew on there to trade over to Crystal because I want to use that on Crystal. The Mew on Crystal would be fun. But we'll get to Gen 2 in a moment actually. But Yellow, I think there's just a lot of things, better sprites. Um, I don't know if Red and Blue also like the colors changed depending on where you go, right? Like the cities all had different colors. But I know Yellow did have that, of course, as well. And just I think it was just a better overall experience, as most third games usually are. You'll see that will be a common trait amongst a lot of these. Yeah. But yeah, we'll move on to the next one now. Gold and Silver um, is a bit of a weird one because Pokemon Silver, and I do have it somewhere. Um, no, Oh, this is mad. I had Pokemon Silver, but I traded the game for Pokemon Red because I didn't have Pokemon Red as a kid, and I was told that you could only do the missing no glitch on Pokemon Red. So I was like, yeah, I got to get Pokemon Red. So I think that's what I did. But Silver itself played through, and I enjoyed it. I love the new things they added. It doesn't quite hit me with the same nostalgia, so it's not been boosted up quite as much as Red and Blue here. But it is still a great game all around. Um, I feel like, I mean, even D does feel a bit low, but it also feels like if I put it in C, it's a bit high. It's a weird one. It's definitely not as close to an F tier game as I guess I would say some of these others might be. But yeah, I guess we'll just stick with D tier for gold and silver there. It had a lot of good things that I liked in there though, which you'll see as most of those, as well as like the story changes, are why I would put Crystal all the way up as a B tier game. Again, like I said, I've been playing through this lately. Currently have just caught Red Gyarados. I've actually caught a bunch of other shinies along the way, which I never did in. Like, I'm playing on the virtual console version, but I never managed to do that originally on like the old game cart. The only shiny I ever had was Gyarados, so clearly that stayed in my team the whole time. Now I've found like two other shiny Pokemon other than that. Yeah, it's a fun, fresh experience for sure, for sure. Uh, Ruby and Sapphire. God, this there is not enough tiers for this because I'm gonna say this now. Emerald? No, we'll get onto that. Ruby and Sapphire. I played through Ruby initially. Um, Groudon was one of mine, still is one of my favorite Pokemon, I guess. Um, Sword and Shield. I was literally running a competitive team that had Groudon in it. Uh, Fuck all those Kyogre users. Uh, no, I was running Groudon. Um, Such a cool Pokemon, man. And especially in Gen 8. Obviously, we're in Gen 9, but Gen 8 uh, with Dynamax just made it so much cooler. Seeing a giant fucking Groudon behind you, like, that's the size you imagine Groudon to just be in general. Um, I'm going to throw that into B tier. I had so many memories on Pokemon Ruby. Eventually, I did play through Sapphire as well, which I remember because I started off with Blaziken. I actually really like. I posted a video the other week, all my favorite starters. I mentioned on there Gen 3 starters. I love them all. Trico was. I didn't really get into Trico until Omega Ruby Alpha Sapphire, but I never hated any of those starters. Ruby and Sapphire, Blaziken on. Weirdly enough, I went with the fire type Pokemon on the red game, and I went with Mudkip on Sapphire. So I went with the water type Pokemon on the. Damn, if only I went. I don't think I went Trico on Emerald. I think I would remember that. I think I went Blaziken again, because Blaziken's just so cool, man. But I did have a Sceptile, so I probably traded a Trico over at the beginning or something, um, just to have it on there. But I know eventually I did have all of my Pokemon on Emerald. Taking on the Battle Frontier was amazing, so that's why I'm gonna put Emerald in. I'll put it in A tier for now. We might adjust that. These are all just going off the top of my head right now. But yeah, Emerald was an amazing game. Loved that game. It's probably a game that I'd play that on stream to this day. Just casually an Emerald playthrough. It's such a fun game. Yeah, maybe I might do that at some point. we'll just play Emerald and we'll just, you know, not for a video idea. We'll just grind the fuck out of that game to the point where we take on the Battle Frontier. We eventually defeat all of that. That could be fun. That could be fun. We'll come back to that. Not today, but we'll maybe we'll do that for a stream at some point. Fire Red Leaf Green. I originally last video I made for this, because I've made this video before. About a year and a half ago, I made this exact tier list video. Obviously, at that point, when I made that video, I don't think Legends had dropped yet. I don't know if it was a year and a half ago. I don't know when it was. It was a while ago. It was over a year ago. So I don't know if Legends had dropped at that point or what. Because Legends was the end of January, right? I don't know. I'll check that. But I said that Fire Red Leaf Green, absolute trash. And I think I rated them that because they don't add anything to Red and Blue. Like, other than the Sevi Islands, which the Sevi Islands himself is fun. But the base game isn't that great. Like, they don't add any, like, new features, I guess, which people are gonna, you know, when I bring this one up later, oh, you can't see it. When I bring this one up later, you're gonna be like, well, they didn't really add much from Diamond and Pearl. But, yeah, I know I'm gonna get a bit of hate for that one. We'll get to that, though. Fire Red Leaf Green, I am actually gonna put them a little bit higher than I did last time, though, because they aren't awful. They aren't awful. And you know what? Maybe I do need to play them again. Just to... Like, maybe I need to play, like, a modded version of Pokemon Fire Red that can just, like, breathe a bit of life into the game for me. Who knows? You know what? If on the Switch they decide... Because we got news of GBA emulators coming to the Switch, right? Game Boy and Game Boy Advance emulators are on Switch Online now. If they add the Gen 3 games, I'll play Fire Red Leaf Green for a series. Why not? Play through that, and maybe it will reignite my love for the games. I think that, honestly, the biggest thing I hate about this game, it just gives me like a really shitty sour taste in my mouth, because when I got them, I think with those particular games, weirdly, like Ruby, Sapphire, and Emerald, I got them brand new, official, legitimate copies. Fire Red and Leaf Green, my parents couldn't find them in store, so they got them on eBay, and they end up being dodgy copies. Like, people were doing dodgy copies back then. They didn't come with wireless adapters. It was just the game, and it was the standard grey Game Boy cartridge. And I was like, yo, that's kind of weird, but the game works, so sure. But yeah, my save file, like, I would get to about the 6th gym, and my save file would just not exist anymore. And that happened for both of them. So, yeah, not great. I do actually have the legitimate Fire Red and Leaf Green cartridge now. Both of them, again, in my cupboard. I've literally got... Hold on, I've got Spanish Blue, English Red, Yellow. I don't have Gold and Silver cartridges, but I've got Crystal, Ruby, Sapphire, Emerald. I've still got all of them, except the Ruby sticker isn't on the game anymore. That came off years ago. Fire Red, Leaf Green. This is what I'm pissed off about. Diamond and Pearl. Yo, Diamond and Pearl go for so much these days. I traded both of those in to get Platinum. And I'm still pissed off about it. To this day. But we'll get on to that. Yeah, I'm going to put Fire Red Leaf Green in D. I think that's fair. Again, these are my own like personal opinions and preferences. You might want to rate them higher, and that's totally fine. That's totally fine. This is just because of, I guess, how it affected me. I just don't get the best feeling about it. But I was a bit harsh last time saying F, so we're gonna put them a bit higher. Diamond and Pearl. I'm gonna put them in C because these games were amazing when they released. But a number of things, you know, don't put these games higher for me, and that would be the fact that I got so excited on Cerebi, looking at the release date for Diamond and Pearl, waiting for it, comes out, realized that was the Japanese release date, and the release date for Diamond and Pearl in English was like 6 months later or something like that. So I was like, fuck, okay, I've got to just look on this website. Guys, this is Joe's been doing a solid thing with that website. Like, dude's been running that shit for over 20 years now. That's insane. Sorry, just had to like think about that for a moment. When did he start it? I'd check, but that would like take it off this. That's crazy. Sorry. But yeah, I'd be so hyped up about that shit. So when the time came, it kind of put me down, and just a number of things that after Platinum came out, it just makes Diamond and Pearl look not that great. Diamond and Pearl, I'm gonna put them at C tier, just because it's hard to go back and play them. It's similar to Red and Blue. With Yellow there, it's hard to go back and play Red and Blue. Weirdly, I'd play Yellow over Fire Red Leaf Green. Like, that's just a fact. I would definitely play, we'll get to Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee soon. It's going to be a very weird one because you'll see. But I would actually play this over Pokemon Yellow, despite what I'm going to rate it. It's so fucking weird. But yeah, Diamond and Pearl weren't great for me, so we're gonna put them in C tier. Platinum, however, Platinum, I'm gonna put. God, this is hard. Platinum, I'm putting in S, but I'm probably gonna put Emerald as an S as well. Yeah, they were just. Platinum was just amazing. Platinum was an amazing game. Yeah. I think Gen 4 as a whole was pretty good. But yeah, Platinum, I think just the amount they changed. It was like the first time they did a third game that had, I suppose Emerald did have a bit of change as well. Because obviously, you know, there's that amazing cutscene in Emerald where you have Rayquaza coming down. Which, to be fair, was amazing for a Game Boy Advance game. But yeah, Platinum did so much different. It was like, it was just such, it just made the game fresh. I don't even know how to describe it. It's weird. Like, Platinum, if it came out, if we had a Gen 5 Platinum instead, I'd probably rate it above Black and White. But we wouldn't have a way to do that. I'd have to put Platinum here. No. I'd have to move. You'll see, because I'm saying you'll see so much of this video. Heart Gold, Soul Silver, though. I'm going to put them. I'm going to move Crystal to A, and I'm going to put Heart Gold, Soul Silver in B tier. They were good, but they were just remakes of Gold and Silver. Simply put, they did have a couple of elements of Crystal in them, but not like, they weren't a Crystal remake, which is, again, what a lot of these are. Like, they're just remakes of the original games, and yeah. Yeah. I think B tier. Like, B's not bad. I actually did a playthrough of a ROM hack of a game, Storm Silver. One of my first series on YouTube, actually. Never finished it. Never finished it. Did that back when I was in high school, so that would have been 10 years ago or so now. Well, almost. When I first started my channel, though, it would have been, yeah, pushing 9 years ago at least. Yeah, that was a fun game, but yeah, we'll put it B tier. Black and White, easy A tier. Amazing game. As much as people hate this, I love the fact that you don't get any previous generation Pokemon until post-game. I love that. I wish they would do that more often. I wish they would just go, alright, here's 150 new Pokemon. You can get other Pokemon, but after you finish the game. Black and White were amazing for that, and yeah, incredible. Although, weirdly adding in other Pokemon on top of them, maybe it's just I preferred the story better, but Black and White 2, another S tier, for sure. S tier, mostly just because Gen 5 is... I'm starting to think Gen 5 is my favorite generation. I was there for Gen 5 from the beginning, when people were like, oh no, this is shit. This Pokemon's a gear, this Pokemon is an ice cream. This one's a literal trash bag. And I was just like, I love this game. This generation's amazing. It felt so good. I played it early as a ROM, when it was only in Japanese, and I had like a really dodgy, loose English translation for it. But because it's still the Japanese ROM, nicknames were limited to 5 characters. So everything was in English, but like the mechanics were still the Japanese game. So it obviously made me get Tepig as my starter and choose Bacon as the nickname. I was playing it on a school laptop though at the time, and up until obviously the real games came out. This is for both Black and White 2 and Black and White 1, by the way. Black and White 2 I just got on release though, and played through the whole game on one of those R4 chips. And if you guys remember those, I've actually got one in here. So this is like, God, I put stickers all over this, but this was a Super Mario Red DS. And in here we have the R4, the R4i 3DS. Although it doesn't seem to work on my 3DS, maybe I need to update it. I'll be honest, the last time I update that thing was probably like 2012 or something like that. I don't fucking know. But yeah, no, it's some good fun. It's some good fun. Black and White 2. I'm getting sidetracked. Played through a Japanese ROM with an English translation of Black and White 2 on there as well. I actually did a battle against someone who was fairly big at the time. A guy called the Flaming Spade. And that's when Wi-Fi battles were like super fucking popular. And yeah. And he battled with people like Shofu and whatnot all the time, so I was like, oh, I got to battle this guy too, so like, yeah, it's pretty cool. Yeah, that was like peak Pokemon for me, honestly. Like when I thought Pokemon had already peaked, that like revitalized my love for Pokemon. Black and White did. Because it's always like, it's also like a period where I was like probably like 15, so it was like in that period of like school. Like, I was playing football all the time, and the people that I was hanging out with weren't typically into Pokemon. And then I just started like playing it again, like mostly in class and shit. And then some of my friends that were in that group, they were like, "Oh yeah, I also play Pokemon." And it's like it wasn't like so many of these people that also played Pokemon, but weren't public. It was like almost like it was not a thing that you want to let people know. But it was so bizarre to me that all these other people that I would have never thought in my life played it to begin with, and they're like, typical athletic people. Like, all they do is go out and play football. Now, we were there, like, after that, we were just, like, fucking trading Pokemon Black and White 2. I've spent too much time on this, but it's good memories. It's good memories. It would seem weird if I put Black and White 2 in S tier, but memory-wise, I've got to put one of them in there, and it's going to be Black and White 2 for me. X and Y is a weird one. I'm going to put X and Y. I think I'm going to put it C tier, but they're not bad games. I think you get more customization on X and Y than you do on most Pokemon games. No, that's a lie. I think Sword and Shield you get a lot more. Sword and Shield you definitely get more than any other games. But X and Y, I mean, they pioneered it, really. First games to step away from the vertical horizontal movement. You could like just run around everywhere. You're still kind of on a grid, but instead of like 4 directions, you're now on 8 directions, and it was just like kind of a bit smoother when you're on the rollerblades. But yeah, X and Y were cool. X and Y were cool. That's when I started getting big into like I did a bit of competitive, learned like what EV training and stuff was with Gen 4 and 5. But X and Y is where Gen 6 I really started to like my playthroughs of the game were like, okay, I need to restart. Can't go with an adamant nature. Delphox, that's just weird. And just shit like that. Like, I overthought things way too much. And that's where kind of Pokemon kind of got ruined for me at that point, because my brain was just competitive mode. Like, I need to do this. I need to do this. But yeah, I still liked it. Honestly, I don't think there's a single Pokemon game where I could look at it, except Fire Red and Leaf Green, and go, yeah, no, that was shit. I've enjoyed every Pokemon game that I play. Omega Ruby Alpha Sapphire, easy A tier. Honestly, close to being an S tier game. But what is holding it back for me, honestly? I'm not sure. I think it's just the Battle Frontier. I didn't mind like not having the Pokemon Emerald story elements, because we had the Delta episode, so that was still like, if anything, that was kind of better. Like a weird little DLC moment, except it wasn't DLC. It was like an add-on type thing where they're like, well, here's a thing you can do after you beat the game. And fuck, I enjoyed it. Like, it was good. But I think the Battle Frontier in like a more 3D type aspect would have been so good. Like, yeah. Fuck, no, I want to play Emerald, but I'm gonna have to go back and play Emerald at some point, for sure. Even if I literally just like speed through the game, and then we just start like genning some competitive Pokemon to take on the Battle Frontier with. The Battle Frontier was so good, dude. It was so fucking good. Gen 3 Battle Frontier, that is. Gen 4, not a fan of. Battle Frontier Gen 4. It was okay, but like I didn't really get as many memories in. That was the one that was like 5 sides, right? Yeah, the memories weren't as great in that for me. Sun and Moon. Considering Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon are here, I'm going to put them D tier. And then we're going to talk about both these at the same time. I'm going to put Ultra Sun, Ultra Moon, B tier. I think that's fair. Gen 7 were a bit boring though. Just kind of like cutscene talking simulator. It was just way too much talking, way too much hand holding. Could not deal with it. But the games themselves were good. The region was amazing. The Pokemon they introduced, amazing. I loved the step away from gym battles to trials instead. That was cool. And the story with the Aether Foundation was amazing too. Obviously, leading up to it, everyone thought that Team Skull was the bad guys, but no, the Aether Foundation flipped that right up. So we'll leave it at that. For those two, great games though. Just Ultra Sun, Ultra Moon is just a direct copy with just like it fills in the plot holes. There's so many plot holes in Sun and Moon, and it just fills them in. And it's like, all right, cool. Well, wish that was just the base game from the start. So yeah, that's why I've knocked Sun and Moon base game down to D tier. It's probably the only one I'd put in F, to be honest. I think that's fair. Put Sun and Moon regular in F, and we put the actual Gen 7 games up in B tier. Kind of crazy that they're the only Gen 7 games though. It's kind of insane. Or was Let's Go Pikachu Eevee considered Gen 7 as well? Because like 7.5 almost. Because we hadn't received our first Gen 8 games yet. But at the same time, like, it also introduced a Gen 8 Pokemon. Let's Go Pikachu Eevee's a weird one. I'm gonna put it D tier. I'm not gonna put it F. It's catching mechanics F tier. It's I guess lack of, I don't know. It just felt weird not being able to battle wild Pokemon. The only way you could level up and train, like normally, was battling trainers. Or just catching a shitload of Pokemon. It makes doing something like a Nuzlocke incredibly hard because you have no way to actually train. And yeah, I don't know. It's just a bit shit. They're probably like the best looking Pokemon games for sure. That's what BDSP should have looked like in my opinion. They shouldn't have gone full Legends Arceus, Sword and Shield, Scarlet and Violet with it. They should have gone Let's Go Pikachu Eevee with Diamond and Pearl. And then it would have been so much better. But I didn't hate the look of BDSP either, to be fair. So we'll get onto that though. Sword and Shield, A tier for sure. A lot of memories. A lot of... Honestly, Push is really close to S2. I think for now, it's going to be A tier. A lot of these recent games are going to be pretty high up, though. So it's going to be quite complicated. Yeah. I put like about 2,000 hours into this game. Just into Pokemon Sword. That's not even accounting Shield as well. Yeah. It was a fun game, dude. It was a fun game for sure. BDSP, I think it's fair. Put it in B tier. I was stupid about this last time. I was like, it's the best remake we've had. Looking back and after playing some of them recently, Omega Ruby Alpha Sapphire is the best remake we've had. But it's definitely not the worst remake we've had. That would be this guy down here. Yeah, people forget how bad this was. But also, people forget how bad Diamond and Pearl in general was. So it's like, obviously it wasn't Game Freak making it. You've basically asked another company, the guys who are in charge of Pokemon Home, hey, can you make This game here, they gave them Pokemon Diamond and Pearl cartridges probably, and said, play through that, and then make that game exactly like, make the game that you're working on, make it exactly like that, but like newer. Like give it a bit of polish, and that's all BDSPR. I do like the fact that we got like access to specific events and whatnot, that I didn't get a chance to as a kid myself without, you know, an action replay later on. So that was good. But yeah, I'll put BDSP at B for sure, for sure. And then I'll probably put Legends at A. It was a good game, great when it dropped, amazing story, but it died off just as quick. Like as quick as people were playing it, it died off real quick too. And I tried to play it the other day. I was literally in the process of doing a series on stream, like after the first month of the game dropped, and I haven't even finished that because I just got that bored. Like I got that bored, and still haven't finished. I was basically playing. Who knows? Maybe I'll make the video at some point. But I was playing through the whole game using only Cyrus's Pokemon. And we had to look like Cyrus too. We've got the Team Plasma outfit. We've got the fucking... we don't have the hairstyle yet because we haven't done all the quests to unlock that. But eventually, we will do that. Who knows, maybe I'll eventually make that into a video. It'll just be weird because I don't know if I actually had face cam on, but you'll have like me a year ago and then all of a sudden like me just now. And this one's going to be controversial. Scarlet and Violet S tier. 100% S tier. Has graphical problems and, you know, glitches and whatnot here and there. But a lot of Pokemon games have had that. Also got to bear in mind that we're running on a system now that... The processor was from 2012. So it's like... No, 2014. So it's like 8 years old at this point. 9 years old, actually, depending on when in 2014 it was from. But yeah. Or maybe it was 2015. I just know it was like 8 years old, roughly. And that's crazy to think about. That people are like, oh, why is it lagging so much? It's so bad. It's... Like, what do you expect? Honestly, what do you expect off a system that, you know, we're trying... Like, Pokemon were trying to push the boundaries, and they've done really well with that. But, like, you can't expect it to look amazing on a system that's... hardware is 8 years old. Yeah, that's on Nintendo. That's on Nintendo, 100%. And honestly, like, people always bring back Breath of the Wild, but don't realize that Breath of the Wild is a Wii U game that was slightly freshened up for the Switch. And yeah, we'll see how that really does when this new Zelda game drops, because Breath of the Wild didn't even look that great either. Anyway, I'm going to leave that there. I'm actually live as of this video being uploaded right now. I'm live right now on Twitch. Probably, you know what, I'm going to give you a little bit of a sneak peek. It's not showing everything, but we're going to do a Pokemon Scarlet Ground type mono run Nuzlocke. Hardcore, no items in battle, shit like that. Yeah, these are some of the Pokemon that we can use. I haven't started it yet. I'm still debating on if I'm going to ban Paradox Pokemon and Legends. But I've also got to get there as well, so... Yeah, anyway, I'll see you in the next one. But yeah, Twitch link will be down below if you want to check that out. Like I said, live right now as of this being uploaded. See you then.